Welcome to this video tutorial where I'm going to show you how to make a crochet string of pearls plant that is easy for beginners and intermediate crocheters. Within this pattern, I am going to walk through the steps of making the pot, the soil, the string of pearls, bulbs, and then attaching everything together and making a macrame holder. I currently have this plant in my car above my dashboard, sitting from my rearview mirror, and I love it so much. I think it is just the perfect color. I think the colors go great together, and I love that I especially never have to water it. This is the pattern we're going to make, and you can see that there's 7 bulbs hanging from the pot in a macrame holder. I have made my macrame holder quite long just because I do want it to hang from my windowsill so I can have it drape a little long. I think it's adorable. I love how the bulbs are made because they really look like string of pearls. And in my experience too, I've never been good at keeping a real string of pearls alive, so this is the next best thing. So let's get into the pattern. To start, the materials you will need will be a 4mm crochet hook, polyfill stuffing, scissors, yarn in 3 different colors. We will be using 10 white for the macrame hanger to hold the pot and the string of pearls plant, and then the green color will be 140 mild green, and then the pot will be in toasted almond. You will also need stitch markers and a darning needle for this pattern. The stitch abbreviations we will be using for this pattern will be MR for magic ring, SC for single crochet, DC for double crochet, INC for increase, BLO for back loop only, SLST for slip stitch, CH for chain. Puff will stand for puff stitch, which I will explain how to do when we get to crocheting the string of pearls. To start making this plant pattern, we're going to start with making the pot. And to do this, we're going to create a magic ring and then single crochet 6 stitches into the magic ring. So this is just me starting off. I created the magic ring and now I'm single crocheting 6 individual single crochet stitches. And then I'm going to close the magic ring, and next we're going to increase. Round 2 is going to be an increase round, so every stitch should now have 2 stitches inside of it to make 12 stitches total. So I'm just going to, into the first stitch, single crochet 2 stitches. And typically on the second round of any magic ring I don't have a stitch marker. I just count to the number I need in my head, and then from the 3rd round and on, that's when I put a stitch marker in. So you won't see a stitch marker in this 2nd round, but I will put it in shortly. Okay, and now that we have those 12 stitches, I'm going to start on round 3, which is a single crochet 1 increase round that's repeated. So here I've single crocheted the first stitch, and now I'm putting my stitch marker in, and then I'm increasing into the next stitch, and then this is just repeated until I reach the stitch marker. Single crochet 1, increase 1. And now that's the end of round 3. We're going to move on to round 4, which is single crochet 1 increase, and then single crochet 2 increase, and then you do that until you reach 1 more stitch. So here is me single crocheting the first stitch, and then I'm going to increase on the next stitch, and then I'm going to work continuously the single crochet 2 increase stitches. There's 1 and 2, and then this stitch will be increased, and this will be repeated. And now I'm going to start the single crochet 1, single crochet 2, and then increase. And then this is again just repeated. And then this is the last single crochet 2 increase, so there's 1, and this is 2, and then we increase, and then we single crochet into the last stitch, and that's the end of round 4. Now for round 5 is a single crochet 3 increase into all of the stitches in the round, so that's going to be repeated throughout the round, which is single crochet 3 increase. We're single crocheting 1 into the next 3 stitches, and then increase on that 4th stitch. And what we're crocheting now is the bottom of the pot. We are going to work creating the sides after this round. And now we're going to increase on this last stitch. Now we're moving on to round 6, which we're going to start double crocheting. We're going to do 1 double crochet into each stitch. And this will start to create a pot shape the more rounds we do. So this is just the first double crochet. And then we're going to yarn over, insert our hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, which is just a double crochet, and that is just repeated all throughout each of these stitches. But we are going to do this in the back loop only. So only in the back loop are you double crocheting for this round. So double crochet, and then I'll meet you back to start the next round. So now we're going to start round 7, and this is just double crocheting, and you're not going to do this in the back loop only, you're going to do this in the stitch. So you're going to put your stitch through both of the loops. So that is what we're doing for the next 4 rounds, rounds 7 through 10. So do that, and then I will meet you back when we finish this pot. And you'll definitely see the shape start to take shape. It may take a minute for it to curve up to create definitely a circle pot, but the more rounds you make, the more pot-like the pot will be. And I will speed it up just because I don't want you to watch every stitch, but know that I'm doing it at the same time. Okay, and now we've finished round 7 through 10, so this is what your pot should look like. And to finish, we are going to single crochet 1 and then slip stitch 1. So into the next stitch, I'm going to just remove the stitch marker first, and then single crochet 1 into the next stitch. And then I'm going to slip stitch into the next stitch. And this is just me trying to create a seamless bind off. So we're also going to tie off and leave a tail about 36 inches long. So it's recommended you have a tape measure. You don't necessarily need one, but just measure about 36 inches, which is more than enough, but you want to have more than not enough. So cut or pull the crochet hook up, and that should tie off the yarn. Perfect. So that's your pot. Now let's move on to the soil. So to start with the soil, you're going to do the same exact thing you did for the pot, which is the first round single crocheting 6 stitches into a magic ring. So this is just starting the magic ring. And then we're going to single crochet 6 stitches into this magic ring and pull tight to secure. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So now that we have 6, you can see we have 6 by counting the V's. And then pull that tight, and that secures our magic ring. And we're going to now increase into all of those 6 stitches to get 12 total stitches. So into each stitch, increase. So this is our first stitch we're increasing into. There's our first increase stitch. There's 1, 2 stitches into the same stitch, and repeat that throughout the round. And again, I don't like to use a stitch marker in the second round just because I think it kind of gets in the way, but also I just like to count until the number I need for the second round, and then I start using a stitch marker in the third round. So now that we've completed our increase stitches, we're going to do single crochet 1 into the first stitch, and then we're gonna insert our stitch marker into this stitch. So there's us inserting the stitch marker, and now we're going to increase. So this is going to be continued throughout the round, which is single crochet 1, increase, until we reach the stitch marker. Perfect, you just completed that round. Now we're going to move on to round 4, which is single crochet 1, insert your stitch marker, and then we're going to increase, and then single crochet 2, increase, and then single crochet 1 into the last stitch. So this is the increase, and then we're going to move on to single crochet 1, single crochet 2, and then increase, and then repeat that until we reach the last stitch. So here we're increasing, and then on the final stitch we're going to single crochet 1 to end the round. And then on this next round, round 5, we're going to work in the round single crochet 3, increase. So single crochet 1, or insert our stitch marker, and then single crochet 2, single crochet 3, and then increase. And this is what's repeated until we reach the stitch marker. So single crochet 1, single crochet 2, single crochet 3, and then increase, and then start it all over until we reach the stitch marker. So now this is our final increase, And then to bind off, this is our soil, but to bind off we're going to slip stitch 1. So insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, and pull through that stitch. And then again, tie off by leaving a tail about 36 inches long. It's more than we need, but it's better to have more than not enough. And that is your soil piece, and now we will get started on the string of pearls pieces. To get started making the string of pearls, we are first going to make a slip knot and chain 10. We are going to need 7 total strings with bulbs on them. Now we are going to start our puff stitch, and to do so you're going to pull out your hook so you have a little bit of slack, and then you're going to yarn over, place your hook into the second to last chain, yarn over, pull through. Now you should have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, place your hook into the same chain, yarn over, pull through. Now you should have 5 loops on your hook, yarn over, place hook into same chain once again, yarn over, pull through. Now you should have 7 loops on your hook, yarn over, place hook into same chain, yarn over, pull through. Should have 9 loops on your hook now. And then yarn over and pull through those 9 stitches. Single crochet into the stitch before the puff stitch, and then chain 6 and start the puff stitch all over again. Repeat what is in parentheses because this will be repeated until you have the desired amount of puff or pearls on your string. And then once you have your desired number of pearls, you're going to tie off and leave a tail about 12 inches long. Now we're going to continue this method of making puff stitches for however many puffs you need along each string. And for this one, I'm specifically making 4 puffs on this string. So I'm just going to continue until I have all my 7 strings. And once you get to the last bulb, you're not going to chain 6, but you're going to single crochet and then leave about a 12-inch tail. So here I've cut my tail, and then I'm going to pull my crochet hook up to tie it off. And then with my darning needle, I'm going to take that string from the bulb and hide it in my bulb and some of the chain stitches. We're going to leave the 12-inch tail alone for now that's connected to the 10 chain stitches because this will be attached to our soil. This is what your string should look like, and you should now have 7 strings with the different number of bulbs on them. Now we're going to attach our string bulbs to our soil piece, and in doing so you're going to use your darning needle to feed the string through the right side of the soil to the wrong side. And on the wrong side, the first time you do this, you should tie that same string to the string that's the magic ring from the soil. And then just repeat this by attaching different bulb strings to the soil piece, working from the right to the wrong side and tying them along the back side. Make sure that when you do attach these strings, they are not lopsided within the soil, but evenly placed throughout the soil. I'm just staggering them. I'm not choosing a certain string when I do this. I'm just choosing maybe the one that's closest to me or the one that's speaking to me. But there's no method which string goes where. So just choose one of your 7 and then work your way towards tying them all to your soil piece. And you are also so welcome to make more than 7 strings. I just made 7 because I think it's what looks best, but you could make 14 and then the soil piece looks very grown, like it's very healthy. It's a very healthy plant, but it's just up to you how many you want to make. Because obviously you can see that there's more room in the soil for more strings. And this is what it should look like. Do not cut the string that's attached to the bottom side of the soil because that is going to be used as extra stuffing. Okay, so now I'm done attaching my soil piece and my strings together, and look how beautiful it's looking. I'm like obsessed with it and I can't wait to attach the pot now. Okay, so now that we have our strings tied to our soil, we're going to take our pot and feed the end that's attached to the pot through your darning needle. And now we're going to attach this to our soil piece. And in doing so, you're also going to need your stuffing because we will be tying this pot closed, so we'll need to stuff the pot. So we're going to attach using a whip stitch, and matching the ends that we bind it off, we're going to feed our darning needle through both stitches, as you can see here. So I'm going to feed my needle through, and there should be 2 loops on my needle. And then doing the same with the soil piece, I'm going to feed my yarn through, so there's 2 loops on my needle as well. And I'm just going to pull through as tight as I can. And then we're just going to repeat this around, matching the stitches up and feeding the needle through so that there will be 4 loops on the needle. And this creates a whip stitch. Pull as tight as you can, but also not too tight, but tightly enough that it's secure. I think you'll get the hang of it once you keep doing it. Also, it does not matter that the soil piece is a little smaller than the pot because they both have the same amount of stitches, so it's going to work out. So keep doing this around the pot until you see there are about 8 stitches left, and then we are going to stuff our pot with stuffing. And also along the way, you can tuck in the string that is under the soil that is attaching the soil and the strings together. That's just going to be extra stuffing for us, and we don't need to cut those off. Okay, I would say there's about 8 stitches left with my pot and my soil, so I'm going to stuff until the pot is pretty firm. I don't think there's a specific amount of stuffing you necessarily need to put into your pot. Like, you definitely know when it's understuffed, but you know when it's overstuffed. Just make sure it's the way you like it, and it will be able to sit in a macrame holder nicely. So I think I've stuffed it enough to where I like it, so I'm just going to continue doing the whip stitch around until I get to the last stitch. And typically on the last stitch, I like to do the same thing I've been doing around but twice so that I know it's extra secure. So I will meet you at the end. So now I'm at the end of my pot and I'm going to finish the whip stitch, but I'm going to do this twice because I just want it to be extra secure. And then I'm going to leave a loop at the end and put my darning needle through there and pull through to create a little bit of a knot. And then to tie off my yarn, I'm just going to insert my darning needle through my pot and pull through and then cut wherever the extra yarn is that is hanging out. In this case, it's at the bottom of the pot, and I'm going to cut, and then that's my pot and my plant, and now we just have to make the macrame holder. Now we are going to make the macrame holder that will hold our pot with the strings attached. To do so, we are going to use our white yarn and get a measuring tape if you have one, but we are going to cut 8 pieces of yarn that are 36 inches long. And with this, I just measured my first string 36 inches, and then I just used that string to cut the other 7 pieces. Okay, now that you have all 8 pieces, we are going to lay them all so they are about the same length. It doesn't matter if they're perfect or not, but we are going to then tie a knot along one of these ends. Specifically, we're going to call this the bottom end, which is where the pot is going to sit within the macrame hanger. And I usually tie this knot about a 1/2 inch from the raw edge. So from the end, there should be about a 1/2 inch of just string from the knot. And again, this will be the bottom of the holder. And it doesn't matter if all the strings are about the same length because we can always use our scissors to cut them to look like they are. Okay, and now that we have that knot, we are going to place the knot in the center and separate 2 strands each to form an X. So the center of the knot should be in the intersection of the X, with 2 strings each forming the 4 sides of an X. So in each of these 2 strands, we're going to say that is 1 strand now, and you should tie a knot about 1.5 inches away from the bottom knot on all 4 strands now. But now that we have that 1 knot, we're going to repeat that on all 4 strands so that these 2 strands are connected into 1 now. And now that we have all 4 knots, we are going to take 1 strand from each of those strands and tie them together. And this is also going to be about 1.5 inches away from the knot we just made. So now that we have our other 4 groups of 2 strands, we're going to tie knots that are again 1.5 inches away from the previous knot we just made. And we're going to repeat this on all 4 strands. And once you've tied all of those 4 knots, you're going to tie a knot at the very top, which will hold your macrame planter from a certain area. Maybe it's your windowsill or your rearview mirror in your car. And congratulations, you finished the pattern and you've made your own plant that will stay alive forever! Thank you so much for watching this pattern. It really means a lot to me that you made it this far, and I would love to see what your string of pearls looks like. So tag me or DM me. I'm on By Creative State on every platform you can think of, or just drop a photo in the comments. I would love to see what yours looks like. and never stop crocheting.